Hey everybody, thanks so much for being here. I am Matt Johnston, and I want to share with you today the system that I have created over the years working in new media, big media, small media, videos, blogs, everything about how to create headlines that people will click on. This is incredibly important because headlines are everything. If you're on YouTube, it's the headline that gets you into that video, and the headline is duplicated often on the thumbnail. If you are on Facebook ads, you have a headline. If you're on YouTube ads, you have a headline. If you're doing organic posting, you have some sort of headline. If you're writing a blog, you have a headline. And the important thing with the headline is not just to make people click, but it also articulates the story angle. So it's everything. It's everything. And it's always the thing of instinct for me. I mean, back when I was at Business Insider, I was in charge of managing like 250, 300 headlines a day. I would see them come down, and I would have to tweak them, and I would look at the stats to see what was working, what wasn't. I would tweak them. I would see what people were clicking on. We had something called a heat map at the time, which allowed us to see what people were clicking on at what rate, so we could easily get feedback on what headlines were resonating. And I learned a lot there, and it was the stuff of instinct. And then when I started to articulate it into a system, it really made sense. And now I want to teach that system to you. Now, I've used a similar system to help you decide what story ideas to do, but that's just because the headline helps you articulate the right story ideas. Great headline, great story idea, because you want to make sure that it's something that people will click on and love. So let's take it over to the whiteboard, and I'm going to show you exactly what this system is. So I'm not going to go through how to come up with story ideas and everything. That's for another video. I do have a couple of videos on it, and I did one for Social Media Examiner on how to come up with story ideas, and we talked about this system, but the system is the seed system. But if you've heard me talk about the seed system, you haven't heard me talk about it in this way before. So first of all, let's go through what this stands for. Specificity, empathy, emotion, and deliver. I'm obsessed with empathy. My first book was called Producing Empathy. I'm writing my second book now, making really good progress on that, just so you know. Subscribe to the channel to get more information on when all that stuff's going down. And what this allows us to do is it takes a kernel of an idea. So the way that I like to think about how you might want to create, let's just say value-based content, is that you'll create content that people are likely searching for. So for example, let's say that it's I don't know, how to pick a wedding dress. So like somebody's getting married and they want to know how to pick a wedding dress, and we're going to write a blog about how to pick a wedding dress because that is a value-based blog that they would be interested in. And you're not going to be able to see all that because it's too far over. Let's put it over here. How to pick a wedding dress. Now, at first you might say, well, God, my writing. You might say, well, that's a good headline, right? It very well articulates how people are going to get into it. If you're looking for picking a wedding dress, you're going to pick this. Sure, but like, are you? I mean, you can always improve on these things. So really what you want to do is take this as a checklist: specificity, empathy, emotion, and deliver, and just go through each of them and not only check them off, but also think about how you could improve them. How could you make it more empathetic, make people feel more? How could it be more specific? Specificity sells because people have short attention spans and they want to know exactly what they're getting on the other side of their click. I call this click expectation. It's very important to have click expectation in your headlines, because if people don't know what they're going to be getting into, is it like a long article? Is it an essay? Is it a video? Is it like Like, what topic are you actually covering? Are you like, is it going to be a list, or am I going to have to read a bunch of other stuff? You want to have really good click expectations so people know exactly what they're getting into. It just works so much better for obvious reasons. It's just more attractive to people when they know what they're getting into, because subconsciously they don't want to waste their time. I don't think this is a conscious decision a lot of people make, but subconsciously. And then when they're thinking about scrolling through a news feed or whatever in the algorithm to figure out exactly what to spend their time on. So click expectations, specificity means teasing to one very specific thing. So that's part of the issue here. So when we look at how to pick a wedding dress, sure, it's specific insofar as we know that it's going to be about picking a wedding dresses, and we assume that there's going to be tips and tricks and things like that. But assumptions aren't enough to get the click. You need to be really clear. And usually adding a few words to it can really help. Some descriptive words, adverbs, adjectives, it really, really helps. So, for example, it could be, and it might change your story angle, but how could you make it more specific? You could say, well, it could be about fall wedding dresses, spring wedding dresses, and then we're kind of starting to get there. So it could, and you could say perfect, because it's even better. So we'll say how to pick the perfect summer wedding dress. We're getting there. It's not bad. It's not bad. How else could we improve this, though? Because the how-to is sort of a missed opportunity. It's just sort of a cliche that we throw in there. Could we add specificity, possibly, to this headline to make people want to click on it more? I think that we could. So instead of how to pick the perfect summer wedding dress, could we say something like, let's see, 10 wedding planners describe how to pick the perfect summer wedding dress, or 3 foolproof strategies to pick the perfect summer wedding dress, right? And you've heard some of this stuff before, and it's the stuff of instinct, but I'm articulating it in this system. You have to really think critically about specificity. So 3 foolproof strategies to pick the perfect summer wedding dress is much more attractive, because it not only makes it more specific so it helps this, but it actually makes it more empathetic, because we have people identifying with it and relating to it more because it has the promise inside of it. Because what you want is to pick the perfect summer wedding dress so that you look amazing. And you could also make that part of the specificity as well. You could say how to pick the perfect summer wedding dress so everyone gawks at you as you walk down the aisle. You could do that and have that specificity there. Once again, fuels the empathy, fuels the emotion, because it really makes you feel something. Like, it's like the promise of the dopamine hit to come, right? When you feel like if you click this, you're going to achieve that emotional state. That's awesome. And getting a foolproof strategy and the perfect summer wedding dress helps you get there. Or if you were to go with the gawk at you as you walk down the aisle strategy, it helps you get there. Deliver is it's actually more the seed systems had multiple uses. Deliver means, can we actually deliver on this headline? And this is sort of our clickbait safeguard to make sure that we're not just creating headlines that we can't create great content from. So you just want to basically say, hey, can I make a piece of content that when I do get them to click into it, it's going to be a good piece of content. It's because that's very important. But the headline is absolutely key. So specificity, empathy, emotion, deliver, put it through this checklist and ask yourself. One of the things I like to do is rate each of these on a scale of 0 to 5. And I say, how do I make this a 5 on specificity, a 5 on empathy, a 5 on emotion, 5 on deliver? And if you think your headline's getting too long, think again. Unless you actually have a character limit, which is the case in some regards, you really don't need to get too crazy about that. In fact, when I was at Business Insider, we used to have basically a 16-word rule for headlines. Not that they had to be 16, but that was the max. A lot of people think it has to be 7 words or something. But no, you can get crazy with it. I mean, even this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's only 9 words. And that's fantastic. And I'll tell you, stuff like this, if you run a YouTube channel or you're consulting people on YouTube, whatever, like this is, you need to know the seed system and you need to know how to create headlines like this. Absolutely 100%. But it's extremely important everywhere. For most people, it's a toss-off. You know, especially in ads, it's usually just like sale, buy now, 20% off, whatever it might be. You need to know this. And we could go through this forever. I could go through a million examples with you. I teach college. I teach at Muhlenberg College. I have great students, and we take a whole class where we talk just about these types of things, and in my coaching programs and things like that. But I'll leave you with that here today. I highly recommend that you practice this stuff. You know, practice it so that you can get better at it. Just write it and then just put a little sticky note with the seed system up on your monitor or whatever so that you're like, okay, I'm making sure that I'm going through all 4 of these things and how can I get them to a 5. Okay, thank you so much. Smash the like button if you got value because it helps other people to see this video. And there's a really good chance if you're watching this, you're not a subscriber. And I would really like you to be because I work really hard to deliver value here. Okay, have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much for your time and your attention, and I hope to speak with you again soon.